All right, we are back. This is NHL 18 Calgary Flames Franchise Mode. Welcome to the Stanley Cup Finals, episode number 37. That is right. For the second straight year in a row, the Calgary Flames have won the Western Conference. The 2020 and 2019-2020 Western Conference champions are your Calgary Flames. What an exciting episode. Episode number 36 was, in which we played the Nashville Predators and came back from a 3-1 deficit for the second straight series, en route to a Western Conference title. So yes, welcome to episode number 37, the Stanley Cup Finals. For the second straight season, the Calgary Flames will play for the greatest trophy in all of sports. It is their fifth ever trip to the Stanley Cup Finals in franchise history. As mentioned, the second in the last 2 years. As we know, last year we played the Tampa Bay Lightning in the Stanley Cup Finals, only to lose in Game 7 at home in overtime off of the stick of Nikita Kucherov. The Tampa Bay Lightning, led by their Conn Smythe Trophy winner John Gibson, won the Stanley Cup on our ice 1 year ago. Now we have John Gibson. He's in our goal, and we're trying to repeat what he did 1 year ago, and that is win the Stanley Cup. It could be our first Stanley Cup in franchise history since 1989. So yes, here we go. This is 2020 Calgary, looking for some redemption, looking to get that Stanley Cup, and we will take on the Carolina Hurricanes, as you can see here in our playoff tree. We do face the Hurricanes, who make their first trip to the Stanley Cup Finals since they won it in 2006. So just really quick, this is going to be a really long episode, so we're going to try and dive into it as soon as we can here. But just a quick look at our journey to the Stanley Cup Finals. You can see there, left side of your screen, the Calgary Flames played the Edmonton Oilers in round one. It was the second straight series, or the second straight year, that we played. Oh no, it wasn't. It was the second time in 3 years that we played Edmonton in the Stanley Cup playoffs. We swept them. What was it? 2 years ago, I believe it was. Yeah, we swept them 2 years ago in round one. In the first round. So 2 years later, not last year, but this year, we found them again in the first round, and this time we beat them in 7. But you'll remember, if you watched episode, what would have been 34, that we played them. We were a much stronger team on paper. They just found a way to beat us for most of the series. We did come back, and we ended up playing in 7 games. They took us to 7 games. It was a thrilling series, and we beat them there. And then came round 2. You can see there, we beat the Vancouver Canucks in the second round, but we came down we were down, I don't know what we were down, but we came back from a 3-1 deficit against the Vancouver Canucks. We were down 3-1 after Game 4, and we managed to win Games 5, 6, and 7 to beat the Vancouver Canucks and get to the Western Conference Finals, where we saw the exact same thing against the Nashville Predators. We dropped the first 2 games, Games 1 and 2, and then we found ourselves down 3-1 after 4 games. It looked like we were going home, and then the Flames just decided to turn it on and win Games 5, 6, and 7. Game 7 especially was weird because we had goals from guys like Johnny Gaudreau, and the game winner with 5 minutes left off of the stick of Matthew Tkachuk, a guy who I don't even think scored a goal this entire playoffs. Some of our big guns have really been quiet this year in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and they decided to turn it up when it mattered the most. So again, just to reiterate quickly, the last 2 series, we've come back from 3-1 down. We've done it twice in the exact same playoff year, back to back. It's pretty much next to impossible to come back from a 3-1 deficit. The fact that we just did it twice in a row, I don't even know what to say. So nevertheless, the Calgary Flames have managed to find themselves back to where we wanted to be. It was our goal all season long to get ourselves back to the Stanley Cup Finals. Like I said, 1 year ago we were there. Obviously, we wanted to get ourselves back here and contend for the Cup once again. We built our team in the summer. We built our team throughout the year to get ourselves back here. We added the pieces that we wanted, like John Gibson, to get ourselves back right here for a chance to win the Stanley Cup, and we've done just that. So quickly looking at the East there, our opponent is the Carolina Hurricanes. They get through the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round there in 5 games. Then they sweep the Panthers in the second round and get by the Columbus Blue Jackets, in 6 games there in the Eastern Conference Final. So just a really quick look at how they made it to the finals. We will see the Hurricanes, for, like I said, for the first time since they won the Cup in 2006. So that is That is a long time for them. They're probably excited to be back, but like I said, even though it's only been a year for us since we've been in the finals, we obviously really want to get our hands on the Stanley Cup because we failed to do so last year. So just taking a look at team stats here as we dive into the Stanley Cup final series. We have scored the most goals in this playoffs, with 58 through 21 games played. Like I said, we've gone to 7 games for 3 straight series, so we have played the max 21 games, but we also have scored 58. So it's odd because our scoring has been spread out. We'll get to that in a second when we look at our team stats. But there is the Carolina Hurricanes, 44. So they're not too far back of us, but they also only have played 15 games. So when you look at the goals per game percentage, let's go like that. Not looking at those top teams that have only played a few games, but there's the Hurricanes, 293 goals per game. Averaging, we're at 276. So they're actually averaging more goals per game. They have played less games, so they're probably scoring at a better rate than we are. When we look here at goals against, we've also allowed the most goals against in this year's playoffs, which is surprising because, like I said, we have a really good goalie in John Gibson in goal. He has had another Conn Smythe type of playoffs. He is our Conn Smythe favorite going into the Stanley Cup Finals, but our defense, I guess, has just we've just collapsed, especially when we've gone down 3-1. We've allowed those other teams to really take it to us. Like I said, we are a comeback team here in the playoffs. When it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes, there they are at 26. Again, they've only played 15 games, so when we look at goals against per game, we should be near the top. Again, factoring in the games played, there we are. We're in the bottom half at 238. When you look at the top half, there they are. The Carolina Hurricanes, through 15 games, have the best goals against percentage, 173. So we are up against a very good team all around. They're one of the top teams when it comes to getting goals per game, and they're one of the top teams at goals against per game, not allowing goals against per game, I should say. Just quickly looking at the PP here for both teams, we know we have struggled mightily when it comes to the power play. There we are operating at 17.9%. Obviously, we would like to be a lot higher than that, but their power play also has only operated at 15.6%. So that's not too bad. Again, less games, but power play percentage about the same. We're just slightly better on the PP, but it has struggled for us this playoffs. We could be a lot higher. We could be one of the top teams. When it comes to the PK, just looking here, there's the Hurricanes, a top 3 team, 9-1. And when it comes to the PK, really not factoring Tampa because they've only played 5 games. And then we are in the bottom half, I believe it is. Yeah, 75.8. So the PK has struggled slightly for us this year in the playoffs. So that's just something to watch. They're the better PK team. We're the slightly better power play team. So we'll just watch special teams there. So a lot to dive into. Like I said here, this is the Stanley Cup Finals edition for the second straight season. So we obviously, I went into regular season. We obviously have a lot to get to in this episode. It could be a longer episode. So we're going to try and get through this as fast as we can. Okay, so here's a look at what we have done in this year's playoffs. So there we are. 21 points for John Tavares in 21 games. He leads our team as expected. He's been all right, but he usually is a little bit better than that. Again, we're talking about a franchise player that has been really elite for us. Tavares usually could probably be putting up more than a point a game, but hey, I'm not complaining. 21 points in 21 games. Tavares has gotten it done. Who hasn't gotten it done is the guys down here. So Dougie Hamilton, he's a defenseman. He's fine, 17 points in 21 games. But guys like Johnny Gaudreau, 16 points in 21 games isn't bad, but we'd like to see a little bit more. Same with Sean Monahan. I mean, these are guys that are capable of being in the same area as John Tavares when it comes to point producing. Again, we're really spread out when it comes to our offense. You'll see that in a second. That could be a huge reason why. But I just like to see a little bit more. But it's more the guys down here. James Neal, 14 points. Blake Wheeler, 14 points. Here's Matthew Tkachuk, one of our top 6 forwards, just 10 points through 21 games. So obviously, like I said, that's what we'd like to see. A little bit more of these guys that are in our top 6. I mean, we brought in guys like Blake Wheeler and James Neal on pretty big contracts for this reason, to put up points, and they're doing okay. We just like to see a little bit more production out of our some of our guys in our top 6. We can't just rely on John Tavares every game. Jake Bean, the former Carolina Hurricane, 13 points there, -3. So he's obviously on that second pairing. Like to see a little bit more out of him and TJ Brody when it comes to defense. Brody's a -2. Spencer Fu has struggled a little bit there, -5 and 7 points after having a really good regular season. His first Stanley Cup playoffs struggled a little bit, but he's playing on a pretty good, decent line. Eric Holla has been really good for us, 11 points. As a third line center, he's been pretty good for us, 11 points in 21 games. Obviously, that's why we brought him in. He only has scored 1 goal. He was chipping in quite a few goals when he was with Vegas this season. He hasn't been much of a goal scorer since coming to Calgary, but he is putting up the points nevertheless. Jankowski there as well, Mangiapane, Ennis, and Parkett. So that rounds out our offense. Let's take a look just quickly at John Gibson's numbers. Like I said, he's been really good this playoffs for us. 928, really good for us there. He's played all 21 games. Michael Neuwirth came in relief, I think, in 1 game, but 11, 6, and 3 is the record for Gibson. 928, 216 goals against. It's pretty good. 89 overall for John Gibson. So that's what you like to see when it comes to let's look at the Carolina Hurricanes now. So, whoops, not AHL. Excuse me. We want to go here. So we'll take a look at the Carolina Hurricanes. We're going to look at their stats first and then their lines. So let's take a look first. Things first is with their forwards. So let's take a look here. Jeff Skinner is their leader. Again, they've only played 15 games. So 18 points in 15 games. That's really good for Jeff Skinner. He leads them, obviously, 86 overall. He's their top superstar up there. 11 goals and 18 points, as mentioned. Michael Backlund, the former Calgary Flame. Forgot that we did indeed trade Michael, or we didn't trade him. We allowed Michael Backlund to walk to free agency, and he signed with the Carolina Hurricanes. So just looking back here in our archives, if I can find it here. I believe what it was is when we signed John Tavares. Yeah, when we signed John Tavares on the 6th of July in 2018, I believe it was. Yeah. So we signed John Tavares. I'm just going through this really quickly. When we signed John Tavares in our first off-season with the Calgary Flames, we allowed Michael Backlund to walk because if you'll remember way back, I don't even know what episode it was, probably 10, 11, 12, around that point somewhere. Michael Backlund was asking for a hefty contract. We didn't want to pay him that contract. Obviously, he went to Carolina and got a $6.3 million. I think that's what he was asking for, about $6 million, and we didn't want to go over 6, and he ends up getting 6.3 with Carolina. But the main thing is we knew we were going after John Tavares in that episode. So we ended up getting John Tavares. We allowed Michael Backlund to walk, and that is why Backlund is a member of the Carolina Hurricanes. And since then, he has done really well, obviously contributing here in the Stanley Cup run here with the Carolina Hurricanes. 14 points in 15 games for Michael Backlund. He is by far their top centerman. There's Victor Rask, but you can see Michael Backlund at 85 is their top centerman. He's probably playing on the same line as Jeff Skinner and Sebastian Aho, who has 9 points as well. Victor Rask, probably their second line centerman with Elias Lindholm, Teuvo Teravainen, there, 7 points each for them. Mikhail Bodker, Riley Sheahan, Valentin Zykov, Brock McGinn there. Jordan Stahl is down there. He hasn't done much, the veteran. I wonder if he's maybe their third line center at 83 overall. But just a look there at the guys that have produced, it's mostly being ran by their top line with Jeff Skinner and Michael Backlund. So when we look at their defense, so it's weird to see where all of their offense is coming from. When we look at their defense, Justin Falk, 14 points in 15 games, all of them assists, but he's doing really well for them. Top defenseman top defenseman by far there for the Carolina Hurricanes, a franchise defenseman for them at 87 overall. Also there is Jakub Slavin. He's probably on that top pairing with Justin Falk. Noah Hannafin at 87, so maybe he's on that top pairing, 6 points there through 15 games. Brett Picey there, 84, Roland McEwen, and Justin Braun. So interesting. We're going to look at their lines here in a second, but I mean, again, we should have the much stronger team on paper. And there's Scott Darling. He's played all 15 games for them. He's an 86 overall. We have the better goalie in John Gibson, but look at Darling's numbers: 946, 168 goals against. That is why they're the best team when it comes to not allowing as many goals against in the playoffs. Because, I mean, my God, he's only an 86, but he's probably playing like a 95 in these playoffs. He's probably their consummate favorite, too. 946 save percentage in the Stanley Cup playoffs, a 12-2-1 record. That is incredible. At 86 overall, he's, like I said, he's probably performing like he's at 95 right now. I mean, that's just incredible. So Just a quick look at where their production has been coming from. They have a really hot goalie right now in Scott Darling, as mentioned. Let's take a look at their lines now, just so we can see how we match up against them here. So let's go down to Carolina. Where are we? There we are. All right, so here it is. As expected, Jeff Skinner, Michael Backlund, and it's Teuvo Teravainen on the right side of that top line. So again, looking at that top line, that's a pretty good top line. Like, that's a solid top line, but we have a much more elite top line with John Tavares and Johnny Gaudreau and Blake Wheeler. But again, on paper really means nothing, as we've seen, especially in the last two series, especially in that Edmonton series. I mean, by far, we were so much stronger on paper, and they took us to 7. I mean, we almost ended up losing in the first round to the Oilers, who had such a weak team and on paper. But it really means nothing in the playoffs. So we really don't want to take into factor too much that we're the best, stronger team on paper, because we have been in every series, but we've also barely made it through every series. So again, Skinner, Backlund, Teravainen, not too bad. A pretty solid second line here. Aho, Rask, and Mikhail Botker. Really, that's kind of like a third line, like a really good third line. But they also have a solid official third line with Julien Gauthier, as mentioned, Jordan Staal, and Elias Lindholm. So they pretty much have two really good third lines instead of a second line and a third line. And then when we get down here, Riley Shea, the Zykov, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, and Brock McGinn there on that line. And then when we look here, it is Hanifin, and Falk, both 87 overall, so that's a really elite top pairings. Obviously, they have a speed because Mark Giordano has seen his ratings go down, although he is probably playing closer to an 85. I think he's like an 82 right now. Jakob Slavin and Brett Picey. We have a pretty even second pairing with Brody and the former Hurricane and Bean, and then McEwen and Buran. Not a bad third pairing there. So I would say the defense is pretty even on paper, but again, we're not taking into consideration that. Looking at their PP here, Skinner, Rask, and Teravainen, Falk, Hanifin. They got Backlund on the second unit there with Elias Lindholm and Sebastian Aho. Their penalty kill, that has been the best in the league. It's Jordan Staal, who's a really good two-way forward, one of the best in the league. And Michael Backlund also working on that PK there with McGinn and Sheahan. Falk and Hanifin, Picey and Buran, the defenseman, shutting it down there. So that's why their PK is really good. And then as we mentioned, Scott Darling in goal, 86 overall. The backup is Cam Ward, but they have not even gone to him this year in the play. And why would you, with the way that Scott Darling is performing? So just a quick look there at their lines. But my God, they have a really hot goalie. It's going to be very hard here in the Stanley Cup Finals. I'm just hoping we can find a way to pull it off. But they do have a much more spread out team than we do. I mean, we're like I say, every series we're really top heavy with our top 6 here, as you can see. But again, our second line has really not performed probably up to standard. Like, again, this would be a top line on any team at 88, 88, and 84, and they have not played like a top 6 line in the playoffs for us, really all season, especially Tkachuk, who struggled mightily. When we look here at our bottom 6, they have a stronger bottom 6 than us slightly, but we're hoping it can get us done here. There's Giordano. He is an 80, but again, he's probably playing closer to an 85. He has dropped significantly, but he is there with Hamilton, Brody, and Bean. Cuckoo and Orpik is what we're going in with. And then just a quick look here at our goaltending, Gibson and Northwood. One other thing I wanted to look at was our power play, because it has struggled. It could be better, much better. We're just going to keep it as is going into the series, and we'll make lineup changes if we have to. But we'll roll with these lines on the PP if we have to. We need James Neal in there somewhere. I'm just looking here. Let's take Giordano out. We had some injuries, of course, throughout the playoffs, so we are just getting guys back into where they need to be. So James Neal, we'll get him back on the power play instead of Giordano. Like I said, Giordano's not really effective anymore, so let's get Neal in there. Other than that, things look good. I think we'll start the Stanley Cup Finals the way we finished off the Western Conference Finals, and then we'll roll from there. So I don't see why we're waiting at all. Let's advance the day here, and let's get right into the Stanley Cup Finals. So it is the Hurricanes and the Calgary Flames, the first of the best of 7 for the Stanley Cup. So like I said, there's not much more we can get into, not much more to break down. I mean, this is a team we haven't seen much out of this year, but it's going to be like I said, it's our time for redemption. We lost the Stanley Cup last year to the Lightning. We've made it all the way back, which is so hard to do. I mean, don't underestimate how hard it is to get back here 1 year removed from losing it. In Game 7, in overtime, we have a chance to redeem ourselves here. The only thing standing in our way, the Carolina Hurricanes. We have to find a way to beat this team. We cannot, and I repeat, we cannot do what we did in the last 3 series and have to come from behind. Because, I mean, it's impossible, the fact that we pulled it off 2 series in a row. There's no way we do it in the finals against this team like the Hurricanes, which really seem like a shutdown team to me. But here we go. We're going to have to find a way to score on Darling, and we're going to have to find a way to beat the Hurricanes. And they get the first goal. Oh my God. Brock McGinn, not even like 4 minutes in, scores in our power play. We get a power play, and we do nothing as expected. So this is not good. We do not want to find ourselves behind. I know I say it every series, but please, for the love of God, we can't rely on coming back. I know we don't have enough magic to do that here in the finals. We used it up in the last 2 series. So after 1 period of play in the Stanley Cup Finals, it is 1-0 Hurricanes. We've really struggled on home ice in the playoffs, and I really don't know why. There we go. Johnny T has scored, and the Flames are on the board in the Stanley Cup Finals. Huge goal. Come on, PK. So there's a huge PK. Big goal by our superstar, John Tavares. That's what we need. I mean, he is our best player for a reason. But then Jordan Staal scores about at the halfway mark. Makes it a 2-1 lead for the Hurricanes. On the third line, come on, Flames, we gotta find a way to stay in here. Come on, we need more offense beside. This is what I'm talking about. We can't just rely on John Tavares. Where is all of our other where's our second line? My God, Monahan, Tavares, Neal, wake up, please. Here we go, final period of play in Game 1. We do not want to go down here. Come on, Calgary Flames. Come on, this would be a good time to score, Flames. I mean, we're out shooting them by just a bit here. 25 to 20 are the shots. Half a period to go. Come on, Calgary, tie it up. PK. Come on. Oh, my God, they get a power play going. It's the former Flame, Michael Backlund. Oh, back in the Dome in the Stanley Cup Finals, and he puts a dagger into the Calgary Flames in Game 1. That's a huge insurance goal that eventually helps them hold on to win the Game 1. Not good at all. We really don't have answers for Scott Darling. This is going to be a low-scoring series for what I can see already. We have to find a way to beat Darling, who's just been red hot. Okay, so our third line struggling a bit there. Jankowski, Ennis, Orpik, Stepniak, and yeah, I don't know. We just got to find a way to get more offense. Like, I mean, John Tavares, Wheeler, and Gaudreau. That was the only line that did anything. Like, we have to find a way to get our offense going. I mean, we can't rely on Tavares. 8-8-0 for Gibson, not the best night either. But we just got to find a way to score. We're not built to be a defensive team. We're built to be a highly offensive team, and we're not getting it done right now against a really strong defensive team in the Hurricanes. So let's get up here to game number 2. Obviously, we have to. We dropped both games in the last series against the Predators. We can't do that to open up this series. We have to win game number 2 here. Go back to Carolina with the 1-1 split. So, just thinking here. Like, I mean, what didn't get done here in the Game 1? I'm just looking at our lines here. I'm not going to make... Who's our scratch right now? Just taking a look here, because Stepniak was a minus. Let's take Lee Stepniak out. Let's bring Cedric Parquet in on the left side there, because that line did struggle. Jankowski and Stepniak struggled a bit. So we'll switch that up. I just want to work on the power play just a little bit here. Special teams. Just change things up here. Again, we just got to figure out ways to, we'll put Wheeler, we'll put Monahan back there on the second unit. Keep Hall up there. Neal can play the point still. We just got to switch things up here. We have to try different things to get our power play going. Because there's no reason here in the Stanley Cup Finals we can't score in the power play. Like, we have to utilize, when we get opportunities, we have to utilize it. I mean, the Stanley Cup is literally on the line. Let's utilize our power play, for God's sake. Okay, here we go. Game number 2. We have to tie this series up. We have to get the 1-1 split. That's so important. There's our power play again, doing absolutely nothing. Like, absolutely shit. It's just, we have such lethal offensive weapons. There we go. Blake Wheeler. Top line scores again. Strikes for the Flames. We get the first goal here in Game 2. That is huge. We have to hang on now. Come on, Flames. But we need more support. We need more goals here. Come on, Flames. More goals. We have to pad our lead here. We can't play, and that's why we can't play on a 1-0 lead. Michael Backlund, second of the series. He is just, the former Flame, just really giving it to us. There's Johnny Gaudreau. Johnny Hockey shows up in the series. Huge goal. It's still our top line doing all the work, but he will take it. Oh my God, Sebastian Aho ties the game up in period number 2. This is such an even game. And then Bodker scores again. Bodker, excuse me. Aho scored the first one. Bodker, the second one. Oh my God, 3 goals by the Hurricanes in that period. What the hell is going on, Calgary? Like, my God. We can't let them score 3 goals in a period. And now we have to come from behind yet again. Please, Calgary, for the love of God, do something here. There we go. Janko, huge goal on the 4th line to kick off the 3rd period. This game is tied. Come on, Calgary Flames. Come on, pull ahead here. Power play. This is the time we need our power play. My God, we need our power play so bad right there. Come on, Calgary Flames. Another power play. Oh my God, we go 0 for 2 in the period. Looks like we're going to overtime. I mean, that is just horrible. We have like 2 power plays in the 3rd period in a must-win game, and we can't do anything. Like, please, here we go, overtime. This could literally decide the series. If the Hurricanes score here, they're up 2-0. They have such a good chance at closing out the series. I know it's early, but go up 2-0 in the finals. I mean, that's just something. Or we could take this back to Carolina with a 1-1 split. That's what we need right now. Where's John Tavares? We need Mr. Overtime right here. Come on, Tavares. Come on, Flames. Overtime in game 2. Come on, let's take that 1-1 split. Come on, Calgary. This is it. Overtime. Oh my God, this is going long here. Half a period in, first overtime. They go on the power play. Huge PK. Big PK in overtime. Big PK. That's what we want to see out of our PK. Come on, Flames. Come on. We're going to double overtime. No! Right at the end of overtime. 18 seconds left. Mikhail Bodker. His second of the game. Unreal on the 42nd shot of the game for the Hurricanes. It is an absolute stunner by Mikhail Bodker. Just when it looked like we were going to double overtime. Oh my God. I don't even know what to say anymore. I mean, that is just... It's our top line. We got nothing coming from our other lines. Giordano Hamilton struggle. I mean, I don't know what to say. 905 John Gibson. 4-3. Jesus Christ, I don't know. We've gone down 0-2 for the 2nd straight series in a row. Like, I really don't know. Okay. I just, like, I don't know what to do. We've been struggling all play. I know we've made it to the finals, but we've barely made it through each series. We've been struggling pretty much all playoffs, in certain different areas, defense, offense, and our struggles are just continuing. Like, we should be. What doesn't make sense to me is we're such a strong team on paper, so why are we not performing like it? Like, something is just not adding up. And this is not the time to fuck up in the Stanley Cup Finals. Like, my God. Okay, so we're down 0-2. We still have a chance to come back. We've come back from 3-1 down for the last 2 series. We know we're capable of it. Maybe they're just saving it for games 5, 6, and 7. Who knows? But we have to start a comeback. So we don't want to get behind in this series any more than we are. I don't know what lineup changes here to make. Let's try Food down there. Because he hasn't done too much. We'll put him there with Ennis and Perquette. We'll put Jankowski up on the wing with Hala on that line because Jankowski did score last game. I mean, it's his second line rate. This is what's hurting us the most. It's like this line is like invisible. Like, just imagine this line is not even there. That's our problem. Our top line is doing it. Our depth is chipping in, here. I mean, they could be chipping in a little bit more, our bottom 6. But it's the second line right here. And this is going to be a huge off-season question, this second line. But, I mean, they have to start chipping in more. Let's go to defensive pairings here. I wonder if we throw Brody up there with Hamilton. Because Giordano and Hamilton have struggled. This is the first time of splitting those two up. But let's try giving Brody more minutes over Giordano. Just because he's gone down so much in overall. We'll put him with Bean. We'll just do these minor switches here. Sticking with Brooks Orpik on that third pairing at the veteran instead of Oliver Chillington. because I rely more on the veteran. Let's go to Carolina, and let's see if we can just start stealing some games here and coming back in this series. We're only down 0-2. We obviously can't go down 0-3, but we have to find a way here. Absolutely have to start finding a way to climb back in this series. So here we go, Game 3, down 2-0. We have to find a way here. Come on, Calgary. We play much better on the road anyway. There we go. Spencer Fu, the guy I just demoted to the fourth line, scores. Go figure. Mikhail Bodker, like his third or fourth goal of the series. He has been on fire for them. Absolutely on fire. Him and Backlund have just been lethal. We haven't seen anything on a Jeff Skinner yet. And as I say that, why did I know that when I said that, he would fucking score? Like, why? I'm just gonna keep my fucking mouth shut. Jesus Christ. Like, I knew that. Like, as I was saying in my head, at the back of my head, I was like, he's gonna score. Like, oh, fuck, okay. How about Sean Monahan? How about Matthew Tkachuk? What if I say their names? Maybe they'll score. This one is running away from us quickly here in the second period. 2 goals here in the second. 3 goals, sorry. And they're up 5-1. We are about to go down 3-0 for the first time. We've gone down 3-1. We've never gone down 3-0, and we're about to go down 3-0. Wow. Just wow. Like, I mean, I don't know what to do anymore. Yeah. I don't know. This could be a really quick episode. I thought it was going to be much longer. It looks like it's going to be a lot quicker. 3-1 down was one thing. 2 series in a row. 3-0 down in the finals to such a good defensive team in the Hurricanes. I just don't see it happening. I'm sorry, I just don't. And we struggled to score. This was just an all-around bad game, though. My God. I don't know what the hell was going on. That second period was brutal. -3 for quite a few guys here. Cuckoo, Orpik, blah, blah, blah. Tavares. So our top line was all -3. -2 for Bean and Giordano on that second pairing. I don't even know. And John Gibson, I don't believe he had a good night. No, he didn't. In fact, they actually pulled him. And Mike Northworth played the final 13 minutes of the hockey game. Only faced 2 shots, but he was called in to play the final 13 minutes after a very poor performance from John Gibson, which is rare. It just seems like everything's unraveling all at once for the Calgary Flames. And again, it could be possibly the worst time for that to ever happen. But you know what? It's happening, and these things happen. It just really sucks because, I mean, we're 500, like 12-12 in the playoffs. We are 500, and we're now down facing elimination, and we have to win every single game from this point out if we want to win the Stanley Cup. The Hurricanes are 1 win away from the Stanley Cup, so things obviously looking extremely glim for the Calgary Flames. There's not much we can do at this point, besides just, trying things at random. I'm going to throw Monahan there. Like, I don't know. We're going to do something major, just throw Monahan there. Facing elimination, we just have to do something here. I know Monahan and Gaudreau haven't worked a lot this series, but we're just going to try and get him going. Keep Wheeler on that line there. I mean, we can throw Holla there because he's a natural center. Jankowski will put Wheeler on the right side of the fourth line. Maybe try spreading out our offense slightly. Let's do Wheeler and Neal switch because Wheeler has been doing stuff. Neal hasn't. But we just got to try stuff here. So, Food did good. I will leave that as is. I will take out Slater Cuckoo. We'll try throwing in Oliver Chillington. I mean, we are facing elimination. We have no other choice but to completely mash things up. We'll keep Brody up there with Hamilton. And we'll just go like that. I mean, like I said, we have nothing else we can do at this point. But do that. We're facing elimination. So, here we go. This could be the final game of the Calgary Flames 2020 season. Let's hope it's not. Let's hope we can now rally back and win 4 games straight by some miraculous miracle. But who knows? Let's just see if we can. If not, we will lose the Stanley Cup for the second straight year in the finals, which is obviously not going to sit well. But I mean, we'll have a lot of off-season questions that we'll have to answer. But here we go. We're not dead yet, just yet. We still have a little bit of life left in us. Can we utilize that? Can we get a spark here and start something for the third straight series? I don't know. There's our power play. That's just, I don't know how to fix a power play in this game. It's just almost impossible. You can't hire a new assistant coach for that. You have the personnel. the personnel that get it done offensively. There's no rating on each player that has a power play ratings. So really, there's just nothing you can do. There's our power play yet again. I guess we should have played with our power play more in the regular season. When it was struggling, we should have really just tried everything on our power play. Like, we should have just put everybody on there and just seen which pieces were working, because sometimes maybe it's not just all your top offensive players. Maybe you just try something crazy on the power play. Who knows? 20 minutes left. This could be the final 20 minutes of our season. It is scoreless, however. We just need one goal here to start something, but we have to do it before they score. This is at 20 minutes to go here in game number 4. Calgary Flames on the power play for like the 4th time this game. Can't get anything done, and there they go. They get the goal by their 4th line Russian, and it's 1-0 Canes. We have 10 minutes left in our season, and that is it. Mikael Backlund scores yet another goal, and that could be the dagger, and it looks like it will. The Carolina Hurricanes, ladies and gentlemen, Stanley Cup champions 2020. That hurts. That does. I just knew we didn't have it left in us here in the finals. I don't know. I just knew we didn't have what it takes. I mean, we didn't have what it takes all playoffs. The fact that we made it through is a miracle to the finals in those first 3 series. I just knew we didn't have what it takes here in the finals. Defense wins championships. They were a defensive team. Obviously, there's not much you can do. We've decided you are in trouble. Okay, yeah, they've offered me a new contract. That's because I've taken off. Blah blah blah. No, I'm going to go. I've taken off the firing feature on this GM mode, so they're offering me a new contract, as is a couple other teams. You saw Anaheim and some other teams there. I'm not going to go with another team. I'm not going to do, realistically, the management, myself, probably, I don't know if I would get fired. Just the fact that we have made it to 2 straight Stanley Cup finals, but we lost both of them. Maybe I would get fired, who knows. But I would probably resign as well. I was thinking about that coming into this episode. If we don't win, is this the final episode? But you know what? I think we're going to take one more crack at it. I wouldn't mind taking one more crack at it. That's two, because like I said, that's two straight Stanley Cup finals in which we lose. This is what we would be entering our 4th season. Let me just check here. 1, 2, yeah. So this was our 3rd full season of our franchise mode here at the Flames in NHL 18. I think I'll go at least 4 years, try 1 more year, see if we can make it. And then maybe resign after next year if we don't make it. But I want to at least try 1 more year. I mean, it just sucks that we just make it to 2 straight Stanley Cup finals. We build such a good team, but we just can't get it done 2 years in a row. We're really looking like chokers in the finals, but I don't really think this year. I just really don't think we were built to compete with the Hurricanes, who were such a good shutdown defensive team, and we were such a lethal offensive team, and we just didn't get it done. Basically, we relied on our offense, and they were not getting it done in the playoffs. We just struggled. So, Rochester is the Calgary Cup champions, Carolina the Stanley Cup champions. We do, if you want to look at the bright side, the positives in this, we do get back-to-back Western Conference titles. There is something out of it. For any franchise, just to win 2 championship titles, even though they're not the Stanley Cup championship, the fact that you won 2 conference titles is still pretty good. A lot of teams would be looking to do that. So I just wanted to quickly sim up to the month of June. Okay, so yeah, we'll pick everything up in the next episode. Obviously, we have the draft coming up, and then the re-signing phases and the free agency period. So a lot of questions though. Here, just give me one second. I just wanted to check the time on this episode, how long it's been running. This is obviously a pretty short episode. I didn't even know how long it was going. I didn't realize how short it was. But, yeah, so, we'll pick everything up in the next episode. But we have a lot of off-season questions, and just because we have a little bit more time, I'm just going to look at this really quickly. What do I want to look at? I want to look at... let's look at regular season stats. I just want to look at our top players. So when it comes to our top offensive players, obviously, Gaudreau and Tavares on that top line with Blake Wheeler. 64 points for Wheeler this season. Sean Monahan also 64 points. James Neal 42 points. Tkachuk 39 points. So you can see where our second line struggled. It was really James Neal and Tkachuk. I'm just, that second line. And when we look at it, we look at their. Is it going to? Oh no, this doesn't show their cap. Okay, so I'm in the wrong screen. We have in our top six, because I can't even look at our lines anymore, can I? No, I cannot. In our top six, anyway, we have a lot of money locked up in our top six. Can I look? No, I can't look at our lines. This is stupid. We'll go. Maybe we'll go view contracts, because that is going to tell us by our salary. But we do have a lot of money tied up in our top six, is what I'm trying to say. Obviously, there's no doubt about it. Let's just go here by our highest paid players. So yeah, this is just a look as we head into the summer. The biggest one here is Mark Giordano. Obviously, we know we're probably moving on from this guy. What we're going to get from him is probably absolutely nothing. In fact, it's going to be probably really hard to move his contract. 3 more seasons at 6.75. We have to figure Giordano out. But it's our other players in our top six. Like there's Tkachuk, 6'6". He was not, playing anywhere near being paid 6.6, but he's still only 22 years of age, medium elite. I don't want to move on from Matthew Tkachuk, because 22 years of age, medium elite. Blake Wheeler. But at the same time, if we trade, a guy like Tkachuk or Wheeler or Monahan, or James Neal, any of these guys in our top six. But again, look at even James Neal, 6 million, Monahan 6.37, 6.5 in Wheeler. I mean, I think Gaudreau and Tavares are safe. I think these two are safe. But it's these other guys down here, like Neal, Monahan, Wheeler, and Tkachuk. One of these guys are going to have to go, because we have so much money tied up in them, and they weren't getting it done, especially that second line. I mean, for our standards, and we just have, I wonder, after looking at all those teams that we played, I wonder if we, start to break up our top-heavy offense. Maybe we've made it to 2 straight Stanley Cup finals, yes, but maybe what we need to get over the hump is to have a more rounded team. And if we take away, if we make our top 6 weaker, because it's so top-heavy, and we use that salary and get better guys in our bottom 6, maybe that will help us out. So, I mean, we look at the guys down here in our bottom 6, Holla, Jankowski, the guys down there, Mangiapane, and maybe we could boost those guys up with another, spread it out. You know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, Brody, Hamilton, I think they're pretty safe there. Brody's got 1 year left, Hamilton 2. Bean's obviously safe. He's only 21 years of age. Still on his entry-level contract. It's just, we have a lot of questions. I mean, we didn't, expecting Chillington and Anderson to take the jump. They've yet to take that official jump. Brett Kulak is probably going to stay at what he's at. But we do probably have to move on from Mark Giordano just because of salary reasons. Obviously, when it comes to gold, John Gibson is still our weapon. He did, play really well in the playoffs and all season long. I mean, he was that goalie that we expected to get when we got him 1 year ago. We just have a lot of questions, that's all. We have a lot of questions heading into free agency. And into the off season. So, like I said, I mean, it's going to be interesting because in episode 38, because this is episode 37, in episode 38, we'll get into the draft, but it's going to be at this re-signing phase and then free agency. July 1 is when we can make trades and when we start to sign players. So this is usually when we do all of our big stuff. We'll probably get into the next episode because, I mean, the draft will just sim through the whole thing. We've got the 30th pick in the draft, so really nothing to look at there. We'll sim through that whole thing. We'll do the re-signing phase. That shouldn't take long. I just want to look one more time. I forgot who our upcoming players are that we have to sign. Do we have any huge names? I wasn't even looking when we were in the freaking contract screen. So, blah, 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 view contract. But most of it will be done on July 1. Most of our work, and that should be in the next episode. It'll be a long episode, but it should be in the next one. So, again, just look here at 1920. Yeah, so we don't even have any guys that have their contracts up. All these guys are they got 1 more year left. You can see here Chillington, Ennis, Kulak, Bean. So all these guys technically we are locked up for next season. But you can see in the next season after that, that's when we got a lot of players that will need to be re-signed or whatever. But we don't have any players in the NHL, excuse me, that need to be signed. I'm just looking here. How do we get to the AHL? Main roster. Oh, main roster. Blah blah blah. In the system. So who do we have to get signed here? So we got a couple prospects that could get that need to get re-signed, but for the most part, is everybody in our AHL system? Yeah. So I mean, Rasmus Anderson, who we know is coming back, he's locked up. They got Stepniak right now down there for some reason. Fu, we know, is coming back. Yusuf Valimaki, is he ready to make that jump? But he's one of our top prospects. I mean, so everything in the AHL is good. Everything in the NHL is good. Yeah, like we don't have any players. Tobin and that guy are good. Is it just Neuwirth? No, even Neuwirth has one more year left. So yeah, I mean, we don't have anybody to do in the re-signing phase. So what I'm trying to say here is everything's going to get done. Like, we'll fly through the draft and the re-signing phase in the next episode. I even thought of making like an extremely short express episode where we just get through that, but I don't think there's any need to. I think we just get right into, I might even skip the draft. I might skip the, how much time do we have in this episode? Let's do the draft right now. Let's do the draft. There's no reason. I mean, this was a shorter episode, much shorter than expected. Keep current ticket prices. Let's do the draft right now, because let's get one thing out of the way so we get into the. I'm not gonna send you scouting for the next 2 weeks here. Let's get right into the draft. Let's do the draft. Let's get right into the re-signing phase. So when we get to episodes, so there's Laria, when we get to the, whatever. When we get to the re-signing phase, we can just fly through that and then get right into the free agency. So just want to look here. We do have a couple guys that do retire. So Derek Roy, who was in our AHL system all year for us, he retires. He did play 2 seasons for us. He retires. Calgary's Lee Stepniak also retires, as does Brooks Orpik. So nothing surprising here. These guys are all older guys as expected, 37, 37, and 39 for Orpik. We probably, like I said, they were all under contract for next year, but like Stepniak was a 4th liner, Orpik a 3rd pairing guy that we brought in just to help make the Stanley Cup push, and Derek Roy was in the AHL all season long. So we do lose 3 depth guys, but we can go look and replace them in the off season. That'll be obviously a focus. But here's just a look at some of the top names. Gaborik, Verbatic, Camilleria, former Flame there. He retires. Hartnell, Placanix, Kunitz, Gianta, Vermette. There's Derek Roy, Franz Nielsen. So, yeah, as you can see down here, just a few veterans. Kevin Bieksa, Testu, Girardi. A lot of long-time veterans calling it a career. But we will move on. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So we actually can make trades here at the draft. So, we can make trades at the draft. Oh, okay. Just thinking here, like, let's do this. Let's go start draft. Like, I'm just gonna go here. Pause the this pauses the clock. Yeah, okay. I'm not going after the pick. What I want to do here is, I mean, we do still have a little bit of time on this episode. Let's take a look now at, like, I don't want to start dangling guys here, but I'm just trying to think here. Like, I mean, there are teams interested in Giordano. Like, there are teams, for example, Pittsburgh, but is it just Pittsburgh, Tampa? But I mean, these teams aren't going to be able to make it work with salary cap. Is there any team here that could make it work? Anaheim? Anaheim wants Giordano? Are you serious? You guys want Giordano for, what can we get back here? Like, I'll take almost anything. I'm not trading him now. I'm just trying to look. Like, they'd be willing to, Maxime Comto. What about draft picks? They don't want any firsts. Like, how much? Oh, yeah, okay. He doesn't have a lot of value. I'm just looking here. So there are teams anyway that could afford him that do want him. I wasn't giving this any thought right now. I mean, do we want to deal him for a draft pick, like, now? I wonder if we pick this up in the next episode. I know I started the draft, but I wonder if we can pick this up in the next episode. So, because I want to look at, I'm going to end this episode right here. I want to look at our options out there, and then we'll start the next episode with the draft right here. just in case we want to make a move on the floor. So that will do it for episode number 37. The Calgary Flames do lose the Stanley Cup for a second consecutive year in the Stanley Cup Finals. This time we were swept by the Hurricanes. It stings, but an exciting big offseason awaits the Calgary Flames. We are going to completely restructure our team. I think that's the plan we're going to do, is restructure our team, make our team less of a top-heavy, top 6 team and more of a spread-out team, and see if that can finally get us over the hump. But we will end episode 37 here. It's another disappointing end for the Calgary Flames. Really stings when you make it all the way to the finals and then lose the Stanley Cup. The fact that it happened 2 straight years really stings for the Calgary Flames and their fans. But we'll try everything we can to once again get back there next year and finally try and get over the hump. But that will do it for episode number 37.